Chapter 75. The start of the tournament. Privilege. The disciples from the outer courtyard looked at Wang Yan in astonishment. Wang Yan nodded. Right. Don't forget, our Shrek Academy reigns as the #1 academy across the entire continent. When were we not the champions of a tournament? Because of that, we'll be able to complete our registrations regardless of when we arrive. However, the inner courtyard disciples are also guardians, and many of them are carrying out assignments in the outside world, so they'll definitely need some time to rush over. We won't meet any strong opponents in the first few matches, so I'm confident there'll be no problem with your strength. Now, I'll explain the rules of the Continental Advanced Academy Soul Dueling Tournament. After putting the students from the outer courtyard at ease, Wang Yan explained calmly, the Continental Advanced Academy Soul Dueling Tournament is the ultimate competition for the various academies around the world. It has fair and equitable rules that test the total strength of each academy students. Because of that, the manners in which we compete are extremely plentiful and lively. I'm going to explain some of them today. There are a total of 133 Advanced Soul Master and Soul Engineering Academies who've come today, and all of them are staying in this hotel. The first round of the preliminaries is a direct elimination match. In other words, the losing party will be directly eliminated. The first round will be a 7v17 fight, the lot drawing for which will be carried out tomorrow. I reckon that it'll take 3 days for the first round to be finished. Once the first round is finished, we'll be split into groups. Each group will have 8 or 9 teams, and will undergo a round-robin tournament. The rules for each of the round-robin matches will be randomly chosen from one of 3 situations. Firstly, single elimination. Secondly, a 3-man, 2-man, and 2-man coordination match. And lastly, a 7v17 fight. This will test the comprehensive strength of every team. Every match will have a lot drawing preceding the match, and this will determine which situation will be used for that match. This is the best way to test your strength as a whole. I'll explain the specifics of these matches after you get through the first round. Right now, you'll have to face your opponents in the first round. After you finish that, we'll be able to get into the elimination round and wait for our backup. Xiao Tao and the rest won't be able to make it in time, so we can only rely on you guys to win this no matter what. After the elimination round, you won't have to be so nervous about the later matches. Furthermore, we could have our backups coming at any time. Even if they aren't able to make it in time, Xiao Tao and the rest will be able to recover their strength within half a month, at the very most. And after all, we're still the #1 team. The moment they heard that the first round was an elimination round, everyone's faces clearly turned serious. If Shrek Academy were to take their leave in the first round of the Continental Advanced Soul Dueling Tournament, they would become a joke. Yet, Wang Yan was extremely confident. Without revealing any worry at all, he smiled slightly. What are you guys doing? Are you nervous? You don't need to be nervous at all. After the tournament starts, you'll realize that your opponents are far, far weaker than what you were expecting. You've forgotten one thing. You're the elites who've been chosen from Shrek Academy. Even if you're the preparatory team, the fact that you've been chosen to represent Shrek Academy on this platform has proved that you've got enough strength. Moreover, this strength is something that the other academies will never be able to compare against. You can't assume that your opponents from the Continental Advanced Soul Dueling Tournament will be as strong as the powerful enemies you faced during your advancement tests. Everyone present was slightly stunned. Right. Teacher Wang was right. They were the disciples of the #1 academy on the continent. They couldn't use their fellow peers to judge the strength of their opponents. Wang Yan leaned back in his chair comfortably. Other than you, all of you have optimum soul ring combinations. Every single one of you has a 1,000-year soul ring. What about your opponents? Do you think 1,000-year soul beasts are easy to hunt? I can tell you that even soul kings are rare in many of the advanced soul master academies. Although your opponents are all around 20, it's already quite hard for them to guarantee that their whole team will be filled with soul masters who have 3 or more rings. 4-ring soul masters are extremely rare. I dare say that unless you meet the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, you won't meet a soul king. What cultivations does our team possess? We have 4 soul ancestors, and 2 people with twin martial souls. We even have an ultimate martial soul. Your opponents should be the nervous ones. Okay, go rest. Preserve your energy and go beat them up tomorrow. Let the other academies see that they won't have any chance against us, even if we send out our reserve team. Oh, right. I have to remind you that we'll definitely be going out on the first day of the elimination round. As the reigning champions, we'll be the first ones out. Somewhat astonished, Shu Senshi asked, Teacher Wang, are you not going to make any strategies for us? Wang Yan nodded unhappily. What do you need a strategy for? Are you trying to humiliate me, or yourselves? Do you even need a strategy against these types of opponents? Go. Xiao Tao, you 3 stay behind for a moment. I'm going to get some medicine for you. The 7 from the preparatory team all returned to their rooms and rested. After Wang Yan's speech, they had become much less nervous. Right. We're the elites of Shrek Academy, so what if we're from the preparatory team? We're not weaker than anyone else. Once the 7 left, Wang Yan rose to his feet and shut the door to the conference room. The relaxed look on his face instantly vanished as he let out a long sigh. Once he sat back down, the look on his face turned extremely serious. Dai Yue sighed. Teacher Wang, is there any need for you to console them like this? Although nothing you said was wrong, the students who are representing their respective academies are the most elite existences among their peers as well. Although there might be a few weaker ones, the overwhelmingly large majority of our opponents are at the soul ancestor rank on average. Furthermore, the academy we're fighting against in the elimination round tomorrow will definitely go all out. Ma Xiaotao said, what Teacher Wang did was right. Were it not for him, they wouldn't have any morale at all. They wouldn't have even needed to fight if that was the case. All we can do now is trust them completely. Can you or I even move now? I asked you 3 to stay behind to tell me how long you'll need to recover from your injuries and fight. Wang Yan said solemnly, I need an accurate time span. Ma Xiaotao said, if I go all out cultivating to recuperate, I'll need 15 days. Dai Yue said, my cultivation isn't as good as Xiaotao's, so I might need a bit more time. I reckon 17 days or so. Wang Yan's heart became increasingly heavy. This was his first time taking a team to a tournament and he wasn't confident in himself at all. Ling Luokeng said, my injuries are relatively lighter, so 10 days or so should be good. There was finally a rather good piece of news. After doing a few calculations, Wang Yan continued, in other words, you'll be able to fight in the 3rd or 4th match of the knockout tournament if everything goes well. After sinking into contemplation for a while, Wang Yan nodded. We can only hope that they'll win their first match. We'll only have the chance to continue on if we're able to get into the knockout stage. You have to keep the fact that we don't have a backup team a secret. Their confidence is to be established by a victory, and I believe that they'll have the strength to maintain the glory of our Shrek Academy. Hu Yuao and Wang Dong both returned to the former's room. After shutting the door, Wang Dong couldn't help but ask, Yuao, do you think what Teacher Wang said was the truth? Hu Yuao smiled slightly. Regardless of whether it's true or not, we have to assume that he's being honest, because we simply don't have any other choices. Come, let's start cultivating. After the lot drawing for the knockout round tomorrow, the tournament will officially start. The only thing we can do now is make ourselves more confident. There are no alternatives. Right. Wang Dong sat directly opposite Hu Yuao, and the 2 placed their palms against each other and started cultivating their Haodong power. Shrek Academy wasn't the only academy that was holding a meeting. At this moment, all of the participating academies were trying to boost the morale of their students. The Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy that was on the same level as Shrek Academy was also doing the same. They were always second place in practically every single tournament, so there was practically no difference between the treatment that they and Shrek Academy received in the Imperial Star Grand Hotel. They only had a single target, that was, to become champions. 2 elders sat at the head of the table within the conference room, and a total of 14 students were sat by their sides. The students seated on the left were evidently older, and the students seated on the right were slightly younger. Clearly, the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy had also sent an official team and a preparatory team for the tournament that was to be held 5 years later. The elder who sat on the left had a straight nose and a square mouth. His facial features were majestic, and he was wrinkled like a date. As he sat there with his wide shoulders, he gave off an extremely sturdy feeling. feeling. He spoke in a low voice. According to our investigations, Shrek Academy has actually brought only 10 people this time. Furthermore, 3 of them look younger than 12. The others are a bit older. We've used a few men who've infiltrated the inner parts of the Douluo Empire, and we've obtained accurate information. When they registered, only those 3 were 19. The other 7 were all under 15. In other words, Shrek Academy didn't even make an official team of 7 to participate in this tournament. Out of the 7 from last time's preparatory team, only 2 of them showed up. It's the first time we've seen that 19-year-old girl show up. Do you know what this means? The 14 students were all somewhat doubtful. The elder seated by the right had a curly beard and was similarly tall and big. His short white hair resembled steel needles, and the hairs on his temples, along with his curly beard, made him seem impressively terrifying. He pounded the table violently and stood up, saying, "It means that they're looking down on us. They think they can defeat us just with their preparatory team. This is like getting a slap in the face. Do you understand that? This is the most direct way they could use to slap us in the face. According to the rules of the tournament, the registrations will end today. Therefore, they're planning to rely on that team to fight us. Ma Rulong." Here, a male student sitting in the place of honor on the regular team's side stood up. His face was somewhat similar to the angry old man's. He had a large stature and short hair with curly sideburns. Both his eyes were bright, and his entire body was emitting a boundless power. "If we manage to lose against such a lineup, you will be kicked out of the illustrious Virtue Hall." "Yes." Ma Rulong replied with one word just like before, but his voice was already filled with murderous intent. "Elder Ma, don't be anxious. I don't think things are so simple." Sitting in front of Ma Rulong was the captain of the preparatory team. He was less than 15, and looked very pretty and delicate. He had big bright blue eyes, and a tall and slender build. His hands, which were now placed on the table, were also as white as jade and very delicate. Even a girl was unlikely to have such beautiful hands. He seemed to like his hands very much. Even while talking to Elder Ma, he was still gazing at them as if looking at the most beautiful piece of art in the world. Elder Ma furrowed his brows slightly and asked, "What's not so simple?" The delicate youth was still looking at his hands as he said, "Shrek Academy isn't made of fools. How can they not know that those 3 aren't enough to stop us? I have great confidence in Big Brother Rulong, but as I see it, Shrek Academy must have run into some kind of problem. Didn't they always attach great importance to us? It's strange that they would get careless at this time." After hearing these words, Elder Ma's face became slightly red. He had also suspected that something like this might have happened, but he had still said those words to rally the students. "That would be better. Xiao Hingchen, you should use all this energy to deal with those students of Shrek Academy that are under 15 years old. They'll be your opponents in the next tournament." The youth named Xiao Hingchen finally raised his head and smiled. This smile was just like that of a beautiful woman. Then, he said, "Elder Ma, only I can be my opponent." Ma Rulong, who was sitting on the other side, gave him a supercilious look as he said, "Xiao Hingchen, if you have something to say, just say it." Xiao Hingchen put on a happy face. "Big Brother Ma, I've already said it. You should try your best, because if you fail to defeat the current members sent by Shrek Academy, you'll be kicked out of the illustrious Virtue Hall just like Elder Ma said. That would be a pity, wouldn't it? You." A hint of anger immediately appeared in Ma Rulong's eyes. Elder Ma glared at him and said in a grave tone, "Sit down. I'll now choose those that will participate in the first round." Even if he was only the captain of the preparatory team, both the leader of the main team Ma Rulong and the old man that was leading them seemed to dread him. Behind Xiao Hingchen's smile was hidden an arrogance that seemed to place him above every other living thing. Early morning. Just as the first rays of sunlight started to shine over Douluo City, the capital of the Douluo Empire was shrouded in a solemn atmosphere. All the roads leading to Douluo Plaza were blocked by soldiers in shining armor. The Imperial Star Grand Hotel was even more well guarded. More than 1,000 soldiers were stationed around it, and all the roads leading to Douluo Plaza from there were under strict supervision. Only the members of the various academies that were participating in the tournament could get through the encirclement. The location where the tournament would take place wasn't the middle of Douluo Plaza. It was instead going to take place in front of the inner city gate. This way, the emperor could watch the show with his civil and military ministers from the top of the walls of the inner city. Not only was the view very good, but it was also very safe. The platform that would be used for the matches had a length and breadth of 100 meters and a height of 5 meters. Moreover, there were 108 pillars of metal on the periphery of the platform. These pillars weren't there as an ornament, but were instead a defensive type soul tool. After the start of the tournament, these pillars would be controlled by 108 soul masters, creating a defensive formation around the platform that would stop the leakage of soul skills. This was to avoid destroying the inner city and causing casualties. The platform had cost a large amount of money to construct. Moreover, they would have to compensate the 108 soul masters that would operate the defensive type soul tools for the duration of the tournament, which would go on for more than a month. It was difficult to achieve all of this without the power of an empire. At this time, except for the far-off soldiers, there wasn't a single soul in the wide Douluo Plaza. The previous time the tournament had been held in the Douluo Empire, there was an incident where people had trampled on each other. Therefore, the royal family had decided to attach great importance to this matter. Not only they dispatched the army to keep order this time, they also found other ways to avoid problems. There were many iron bars in the plaza. These iron bars were around 1.5 meters high and wouldn't cover the line of sight for most of the audience. Their purpose was to divide the plaza into different zones. The audience had to enter and exit the plaza from different places. This made the soldiers work much easier. Every area could only hold a certain number of spectators. The inner city was located on the northern side of Douluo City, facing south, and a luxurious resting area was built on the eastern side of the platform. It had been specially built for the members of the various academies that would be participating in the tournament. However, there was only space for around 70 academies in this resting area. This meant that there wasn't space for the academies that would be eliminated in the first round. With that, there would be no waste of space, and the students would be more motivated. After the tournament had changed its system to the current one, except for the final stage, the thorniest one was exactly this first round of eliminations. Both its awesomeness and harshness exceeded that of the round robin that would come later. There was still place for tactics in the robin round stage, and you could even make use of tactical defeats. However, the first round would lead to a direct elimination. Losing the match would mean that you were out of the tournament, and every team had to go through this first round. Even the defending champions of Shrek Academy were no exception. When drawing lots, there was a possibility of a team obtaining a bye. However, none of the academies could enjoy its privileges directly. The teachers leading the respective academies had arrived at the inner city very early in the morning. They received a number plate based on the time they had registered, and afterward, they started to draw lots. At this time, the lots had already been drawn. An official of the Douluo Empire had the duty of announcing the results of the lots. Once the order of the matches was decided, the final preparations for the early phase of the tournament could be considered complete. The sun slowly rose from the faraway east, and Douluo City, which was located in the middle of the continent, was engulfed in warmth. On the city walls of the inner city was a middle-aged man with his hands crossed behind his back and an imperial golden crown on his head. He was wearing a long bright yellow gown and was standing exactly on top of the main entrance to the inner city. This also happened to be the best place from where to watch the match. At his side was a beautiful woman wearing fine attire that belonged to a palace lady. She was standing respectfully and quietly beside him. A few steps behind her were the Douluo Empire's civil and military officers. "Your Majesty." An old man wearing the red clothes of a civil officer took a step forward and bowed respectfully after arriving at the man's side. On his long gown was embroidered a python. This signified that his status was very high. He was worthy of holding the highest position. Prime Minister, how are the arrangements going?" The emperor asked with a smile. The prime minister respectfully said, "Everything is ready. The lots were drawn, and the order of the matches has been decided. There are no problems in the periphery either. We can allow the citizens to enter the arena." The emperor of the Douluo Empire nodded and said with a smile, "Good. Pass my order down. Clear the important passages, and allow the people to enter the arena. Make them enter in a slow and orderly fashion. If there are problems, the ones in charge of the area involved will be punished severely." "Yes." The Prime Minister retreated several steps before turning and leaving. The Emperor spoke to the beautiful woman beside him. Empress, we have waited 20 years for this grand occasion. It reminds me of when I was young. If the royal family didn't have so many customs, I would have participated myself. The Emperor has always had the heart of a soldier, the Emperor said with a faint smile. Look, the Emperor said with a smile of his own, the students of the various academies are already entering the arena. However, not all of them will be able to make use of the resting area. Only those that achieve victory will have this privilege. It seems that Shrek Academy has only sent 10 people this time, and their age is quite young. One of the leading students is Daihao's eldest son. I thought of calling him back and letting him watch the tournament. After all, it's something that our country can host only every 20 years. But in the end, I decided against it. The Sun Moon Empire is getting more and more restless. If he is there guarding the western border, I'll feel more at ease. The Empress listened quietly and didn't say anything. As the first lady of the nation, she wasn't allowed to interfere with politics, especially when there were many civil and military officers around them. Every one of those military officers was a powerful soul master. Their hearing was very keen. At this time, the crowd started to enter Douluo Plaza under the lead of the army. The long lines converged inside the plaza. You couldn't watch the tournament for free. However, the admission cost wasn't too high either. It was only 2 gold soul coins, and even if a limited number of people could enter the plaza, there was enough space to accommodate more than 20,000 spectators. 2 gold soul coins was the base price. The nearer you were to the platform, the higher the price. You had to pay 100 gold soul coins to enter the area that was nearest to the platform. For the commoners, it was a lot of money, but for aristocrats and merchants, it wasn't that much. The Douluo Empire was treating all the spectators fairly. The more you paid, the nearer you would be to the platform. But aside from this, everyone was treated the same. There weren't any seats, and you could watch only while standing. This was so that they could accommodate more people. This simple entrance fee they collected would earn the Douluo Empire 2 million or so gold soul coins every day. Within a single month, they could earn a total of 60 million gold soul coins. After deducting the military and other various costs, the empire would still earn a large sum. This was one of the main reasons why the 4 empires were very willing to host the Continental Advanced Soul Dueling Tournament. It had to be known that a year's worth of revenue from Douluo City wasn't far from this number. Just as the spectators began to fill the arena, Huo Yuao and his companions were standing in the participants area. Today, the people from Shrek Academy were dressed in their traditional, dark green school uniforms. These were the standard colors of the academy. Furthermore, they stood at the very front of all of the other academies. However, there were no objections to this. This was the glory that Shrek Academy had accumulated through their strength for over 1,000 years. However, the other participants who stood behind them involuntarily revealed a look of astonishment as they looked at their lineup. It would have been fine if only 10 people had turned up, but an overwhelmingly large majority of the 10 didn't seem like they were anywhere near 20 years old. They were able to see how young they were without even using a bone test. Only the 3 who stood at the very front seemed like they were of an appropriate age. However, they all wore cloaks that concealed their facial features. A large majority of the academies were inwardly praying that they wouldn't meet Shrek Academy or the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy in their first match. Otherwise, it was practically announcing that they would be eliminated. The participants from the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy stood behind Shrek Academy, allowing them to get an even better view of the students from the latter. The younger students from Shrek Academy were Huo Yuao, Wang Dong, and Xiao Xiao. Huo Yuao was slightly better than the other 2. After fusing with the Ice Empress torso bone, his stature had changed greatly. He could now pass for a 14 or 15-year-old youth. However, Wang Dong and Xiao Xiao's faces still looked somewhat infantile. This was especially true for Xiao Xiao. She was rather short and looked like she was only a young girl. At this moment, even the proud Xiao Hingchen was filled with doubt. Just what was Shrek Academy trying to do by sending out a lineup like this? It took a full hour for the spectators to enter the arena. There were simply too many people. The originally empty Douluo Plaza was now packed with people. Fortunately, the place didn't seem too chaotic due to the iron fences partitioning it. In addition to the army maintaining order, it was now 9 a.m. Silence. A loud voice suddenly spread throughout the entire field. After hearing this voice, every soldier in the army stood perfectly straight and raised the lances in their hands. Immediately, as the solemn voice covered the entire field, the originally clamorous Douluo Plaza promptly went silent. His Majesty, the Emperor, arrives. With a crash, the populace immediately knelt down in large numbers. Several hundreds of thousands of people simultaneously made the same orderly movements, creating a truly spectacular scene. The soldiers only knelt down on one knee, but the participating academies had been given special permission to not kneel. However, they had to give a 90-degree bow to show their respect to the Emperor. Subjects, you may rise. The voice of the Douluo Empire's Emperor was magnified with a loudspeaker-type soul tool. Only then did the populace get to their feet, and the participating students subsequently straightened their backs. The gazes of everyone present were cast towards the top of the imperial capital's walls. The Douluo Emperor was already standing at the very front of the city walls, along with the Empress and his civil and military officials. His gentle gaze didn't lose any of its grandeur as he surveyed his people. The Continental Advanced Academy Soul Dueling Tournament is the most important occasion on our Douluo continent. This time, it's our Douluo Empire's turn to host it, and I'm very happy. Now, on behalf of the Douluo Empire, I welcome each and every academy who has traveled far to come here. I wish that you'll be able to reveal the elegance you should have in the tournament 1 month from now. Thank you, Your Majesty. The leaders and students from the 133 academies spoke again. The Douluo Emperor nodded and smiled slightly in their direction. Okay, I now announce that the Continental Advanced Academy Soul Dueling Tournament has formally begun. The Douluo Emperor's loud declaration opened the curtains to this grand occasion. Long live the king! Long live the king! Long live the king! The masses all cheered in chorus. The atmosphere in the plaza seemed to have been aroused instantly. Boom, 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 boom. Gun salutes rang out from the city walls, and rang out 108 times before stopping. Douluo Plaza had already transformed into an ocean of excitement and cheers. The Douluo Emperor retreated slightly with his generals, then took a seat alongside the Empress in a chair that was already prepared for him. He waved towards the Prime Minister beside him, who then obeyed his command and ordered a subordinate to start the tournament. The sonorous voice that had previously spoken immediately rang out again. According to the rules of the Continental Advanced Academy Soul Dueling Tournament, the first round of the tournament will be a knockout round. This year, there have been a total of 133 academies who have registered so far. After drawing some lots, there will be a single king who has a bye. A total of 66 matches will be conducted. The first round will be a knockout round, and the loser will have to end his journey in this tournament. Now, the first match will begin. The first team consists of the participants from the Tianling Advanced Soul Academy, while the other is the continent's #1 academy, the academy that has countless feats of glory to its name, the academy that has won every single tournament for the past 1,000 years, Shrek Academy. Following the announcer's declaration, the atmosphere in Douluo Plaza immediately reached its boiling point. Shrek, Shrek, Shrek. The shouts for Shrek Academy thoroughly covered every single corner of the plaza. The 7 from the preparatory team were left staring blankly as they watched the scene unfurling in front of them. This was the first time they'd seen something like this, and their faces were somewhat pale for a brief moment. This was a crowd of several hundreds of thousands. If they were to lose this match, leading to Shrek Academy's disqualification, they simply couldn't imagine what would happen. Everyone, don't panic. This is the glory that belongs to our Shrek Academy, and also the glory that will soon belong to you. During the last tournament, we too faced a scene like this. I can tell you that our opponents will definitely be 10 times more nervous and panicked than us, because we're Shrek Academy. Ma Xiaotao's voice rang out in the ears of every single member of the preparatory team. A scene like this was a first even for Wang Yan, who was leading the group. Only Ma Xiaotao, Da Yuehang, and Ling Luoken, who'd previously represented Shrek Academy as the preparatory team in the last tournament, would have seen something like this. At this moment, Ma Xiaotao's words were naturally most persuasive to them. Da Yuehang immediately continued. Xiaotao's correct. These cheers are for us, and for the glory of Shrek Academy. Right now, we need you to burst forth and step up. Use your strength to prove how powerful our Shrek Academy is. Go. Raise your chests, and put on your most enthusiastic face to thank these supporters. enthusiastic face to thank these supporters. With the morale boost from the two seniors, their incessantly excited hearts calmed down slightly. However, their palms were still sweaty. They naturally didn't know that Shrek Academy's preparatory team had never appeared in the first round before. This was because the first match represented the face of Shrek Academy. Furthermore, their hearts would definitely be affected after facing such a passionate crowd for the first time. Thus, the main team would go out in full force during the first round. However, they simply had no other choice now. Right at this moment, the announcer's voice rang out. May the team members from the Tianling Advanced Doll Academy take the field. A group of young, pale-faced students walked out from the far side of the contestants' area. As they walked out, even their footsteps were somewhat unstable. Ma Xiaodao giggled and turned towards Huo Yuao and the rest. Look, these are your opponents. Have you noticed? Some of them are shaking all over. The reputation of Shrek Academy is indeed a large responsibility and a heavy burden on you. But our glory is also one of the most effective weapons you have. Bring out your courage and strength. Shrek, win. With that, Ma Xiaodao strode towards Beibei and extended her right hand. The others then stepped forth, and 11 right hands were placed atop each other. Wang Yan whispered, Huo Yuao, you're in charge of commanding the team after we're up. The rest of you have to follow and maneuver according to his spiritual detection. Yuao, use your second soul skill carefully, if possible. Huo Yuao's mind had originally still been somewhat blank, but he was suddenly enlightened after hearing Wang Yan's reminder and the words that Ma Xiaodao had said. His spirit eyes immediately lit up, and he nodded heavily. Teacher Wang, I understand. Seniors, don't worry. We won't lose any of Shrek's face. Shrek, win. As they looked at the determination in Huo Yuao's eyes as he said the word Shrek, every single member of the preparatory team felt their blood boiling. Right, they were students of Shrek Academy, representing the 10,000 years of glory it had held. Their opponents would only feel fear towards them. What they had to do was beat every single opponent who stood in front of them. They no longer had an escape, nor did they need to retreat. They needed to unceasingly advance, advance, and advance. Okay, the members of the Tianling Advanced Doll Academy have stepped up. Under the eyes of the crowd, let us now have the continent's #1 academy, the true king of academies, Shrek Academy, take the field. The announcer's resounding voice immediately reached its peak, and Dalu Plaza instantly became a sea of voices that cheered for Shrek. Even the Dalu Emperor, who sat on the city walls, couldn't help but stand up and reveal a look of excitement on his face. Who would have imagined that he'd studied in Shrek Academy during his youth using a pseudonym? Even now, he still deeply loved the person who eternally stood guard within Shrek Academy's inner courtyard. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.